Welcome to the expense report training. This training video will show you how to correctly complete all sections of an expense report and how to successfully submit your report for reimbursement. To get started, step 1 is to locate the fillable PDF version of the expense report that was sent to you by the HR department. If you did not receive a copy of the report, please reach out to HR at the end of this training to have a copy of the report sent to you. Once you have located the report, the first thing you will do is fill out the top section of the report with your name, your branch, the current reporting period, and the reason you're submitting an expense report. Let's follow along with John as he completes his expense report. In this example, John Doe wrote his name in the employee name box. He wrote Portland in the branch box because that is the home territory he works in. For the reporting period, he put the current pay period, which is July 1st through July 14th. Finally, in the reason for expenditures box, he wrote overnight dash training because he is turning in the report to be reimbursed for when he was traveling for training. Now that John has completed the top section of the report, the next step will be to fill in the expenses section of the report. Let's take a closer look at this. The first thing John did was put the dates for each day he will be requesting reimbursement in the date row. Then, he put $35 in the per diem row for each night he spent away from home. The per diem is $35 a night, regardless of if John spent more or less than that amount. John added all the per diem costs together and wrote the total of $140 in the total column on the right-hand side. For Thursday, John also added the $25 he paid for parking in the parking row because he paid to park his personal vehicle at the hotel each night. He put $25 in the total column for parking as well. John made sure to save his receipt for parking to submit with his expense report later. Finally, John put the total amount for each day in the daily totals row, and he added the total of all expenses together and wrote $165 in the total box. The next section John will need to fill out is the mileage log for driving his personal vehicle to training. Since John drove for more than 50 miles, he will be reimbursed for mileage at the IRS mileage rate. John put the date for each day he drove his vehicle over 50 miles. For July 8th, in the description, he noted that he drove his vehicle from Portland to Seattle for training, which was a total of 173.8 miles. On July 11th, John put that he drove his vehicle from Seattle back home to Portland after training for another total of 173.8 miles. John left the rate and amount columns blank because he knows the HR department will check what the current IRS mileage reimbursement rate is currently and complete this section of the report. Now that John has completed the expenses section and the mileage log on his report, he will need to total the expense. Let's take a look to see how John does this. In the total expense box, John writes in the $165 total from the expense report section of his report. He knows that once the HR department calculates his mileage reimbursement, that this amount will increase. Now that John has completed all the sections that he can, he just needs to sign his report. John signs his full name and puts the date that he is signing and submitting the form. John knows that if he wants to be reimbursed on his paycheck, he will need to submit his report in a PDF or Excel format to Lindsay before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. To be sure he does not miss this deadline, John emails his report in as soon as he completes it on Thursday, July 11th. John also submits the picture of his parking receipt along with the PDF version of his expense report via email. Now that John has correctly completed his expense report form and submitted it to Lindsay, he will wait for an email from Lindsay letting him know that it will be paid out on his next paycheck. You have now completed the expense report training video. Please reach out to the HR department if you have any questions or are in need of the fillable PDF version of the expense report. Thank you for watching and have a great day.